People being priced out of Sydney suburbs. There's still some good options out there. We're going to talk about it right now. Stay tuned.
Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Billy, the old man in a young man's body.
Thank you. Do you want to see the war wounds from the weekend? Bit of gardening, a few blisters.
No. What's that from?
I just got stuck into it. I was really giving it my all to help a plant, and by the end of it, it was looking, much healthier, much better. But the hands took a bit of a hit for it.
So you're a bit of a plant whisperer now.
Well, I wouldn't call it that, but you know what? I found it far more enjoyable than I thought I would at the start. I even got the whippersnipper out, Mark.
Mate, you're doing it all. So what's after that? What's after whippersnippering and the gardening?
A beer with a neighbour, or some fruit, a glass of water, whatever. Sit down. Most importantly, I was dead.
That is gold. That is gold. How's living on your own?
Yeah, it's wonderful actually. Mum and Dad popped over for a cup of tea yesterday, and then I went to theirs for Sunday dinner. It just got a bit boring cooking dinner on my own for 2 nights, so I went back home for a night.
That's gold. That's gold.
But we're here to talk about the Av-Cats. The Av-Cats used to be a special breed of people living in Avalon, a little bit secluded in their own little world.
Yes.
Past the bends, which is a particular piece of road which once you pass there, it's like into no man's land. But the Av-Cats are being priced out.
Yeah, so a lot of regions of Sydney used to have a little section where it was a little bit alternate or a little bit hippie, was lower in price, and Sydney property market has really given those guys a hard time in the last 3 years. So those in our area, that was the Av-Cats, and they were. It was a little bit cheaper up there because it was further away from the city. It was a little bit alternate. They walked around in bare feet. They enjoyed the good life, but they're really hard places in Sydney to find these days.
Yeah, we did a little Instagram tile with some new research, some new data basically that's come out. Median house prices are now sitting at $2 million for a lot of suburbs, especially in our area and into the rest of Sydney. There isn't really many places left at all that, there's affordable housing, especially along the coastline into the city and eastern suburbs.
Yeah, and look, I think that it's probably not something the government wants to talk about or the media wants to talk about, but it's very unaffordable for a lot of people. The good news is there's some people that are dumping their mortgages. So what we found as an example on the northern beaches, a lot of people have left the northern beaches. I don't like admitting it. A lot have left. They've left to blow up their mortgage, to not have a mortgage any longer. They've left to go get a job in the same industry or the same career in another area. So that sounds pretty good. They're keeping the same pay. They're getting a job elsewhere but keeping the same pay. They're getting rid of their mortgage, and they're going generally south or north into sort of more regional areas. So whether that be Coffs Harbour, Queensland, Brisbane, Newcastle, no mortgage, but it's leaving, as an example, that churn, it's leaving suburbs. You'd think property prices would be going down in the northern beaches because of that movement, all those people moving out, but people are coming in.
Yeah, well, wave 2 of COVID where people had a good understanding of how life now looks. We had realestate.com come into the office and give us a little rundown of what the data is showing. And Central Coast was the most popular visited location on their website, slowly behind Northern Beaches, for people looking to move into a new area, which says a lot.
So it's huge. So, like this weekend was a great example. We had a campaign where there was 150 people came through the property over the course of a 4-week period. Google it, 25 Bix Road, lovely location, original home. Huge numbers through the campaign. Now, there wasn't as many buyers that we'd expected that would turn up and bid at the auction. As a matter of fact, the people that bought the property were from roll.
Yeah, they're from the. I can't do the real drum roll, or maybe I can.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they were from the east. They were Bondi Cats.
Bondi Cats.
Bondi Cats, which is very different to the Avalon-Cats.
They're different to the Avalon-Cats, but it's the same concept.
Yes, yeah.
So the people that bought Bondi.
Exactly.
Say that again.
You know, different market where your price levels are slightly different, but exactly the same concept. You know, people looking to move out of the east. We had a number of buyers through the campaign where they were currently in an apartment near the water, and they just want to sell that out and get into something freestanding. But in the east, that's very difficult. So, yeah, plenty of people looking to cross the bridge.
So, guys, what we're talking about, if you've just tuned in, it's that churn that we're witnessing as real estate in the market at the moment. People are getting rid of their mortgage or reducing their mortgage drastically. People are keeping the same job in a different location because they can decentralise and do that before. And that they're moving, basically, so they're moving to cheaper areas. But then so we're losing a lot of people out of the Northern Beaches, Newcastle, Coffs, Brisbane, whatever. Very sad. Some great people that are leaving, but we're also gaining some great people coming from other areas like Mossman, Neutral Bay, eastern suburbs coming into the area. It's definitely happening. The people of the auction on the weekend, that happened there. And I think if you're trying to understand the property market at the moment, that gives you a really good grasp if you can appreciate where that churn's happening and how that churn's happening. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, but it was a very interesting campaign. Obviously a fantastic result at the end, but to watch the numbers come through, we were having 20 to 30 groups through each open home. And we've had some shocking weather recently as well, which didn't deter the buyers. It was interesting to see there was all different types of people. You know, had your people looking to do the knockdown rebuild, young families looking to get into the market. As I said, people moving over from the east. The conversations were great out the front, and 38 contracts out. So there was heaps of interest.
Interesting. And also that type of house, like an original, I guess that pegs an original home around our area at around that $2 to $2.2 million mark. That's where an original home's sitting on a nice block of land. Needs kitchens, needs bathrooms, but it's good, old, solid bones. It sounds scary, but I think certainly for us in the Northern Beaches, you think to yourself, geez, that's $60,000 a year or $50,000 a year on interest repayments. But then if they borrow the whole lot, but then if they've come from selling something and they're going to whack 500,000 in or 300,000 in or whatever that may be, then I guess it goes down to about 30 to 40 grand a month. A year in repayments. It starts to sound manageable, and that is huge. That's perfectly huge.
Yeah. Do you reckon, Mark, that with the new fancy cats coming in, that's going to change prices again. You know, they maybe have a little bit more money to spend than the people obviously moving out. It's going to change the culture a little bit as well, the Northern Beaches culture.
I do. I think the expectations of those guys is maybe different, which will start waiting on shopping will change a little bit, food change a little bit. It definitely happens. You know, you saw it happen in Redfern and Surrey Hill, those sort of places where they were sort of very, very entry level. Alexandria, they were very, very incredible. They got a bit fancy.
Well, that's maybe why Coco Republic's now in town.
Well,
like it's, you know, it's good. It is good for the area. Like you said, it's upsetting that people are in a situation where they're being priced out, and there is no longer that sort of alternate, you know, side to the town, the suburb, even side of the beaches now, because everything is sort of just been pushed upwards. But, you know, in with the old, out with the new. As long as it's, you know, healthy, it's got to be good.
Yeah. And you know what? Decentralisation, I think, is at its absolute peak.
Yeah.
Where people have left Sydney CBD, have left eastern suburbs, have left North Shore, and they've gone one or two rungs out. That I reckon it's at its all-time high, all-time peak, and I think over the next probably remember this vid, everyone. I think over the next 3 to 6 to 9 to 12 to 2 years, 3 years, over this next period, I think people are going to start regrouping, re-centralising. It's been happening for thousands of years that people have centralised and dwelled into cities, and it's only happened the last couple of years where people went the opposite way. So is it sustainable to stay like that, or are people going to start gravitating again to big cities?
I think lifestyle is going to play a big part in that. You know, as long as they've got the option to work from home, then maybe that's going to stay as it is. It's interesting to think that the regional suburbs have also benefited hugely from this. There's obviously been a distribution of wealth moving outwards as well. So I can only imagine, you know, regional suburbs have done well out the back of this.
Yeah, big times. I think, but you know what? Don't forget. I think regional people have, unfortunately, people like sit with what's happened with the weather patterns. I think regional is going to be given a little bit of a hard time. People have forgotten why that a lot of these areas flood, and climatically they're not superior than like Sydney, for example. So that gives. I think that's going to ring true a little bit with people out there. Again, it could force everyone coming back into centralising a little bit. Like some of these suburbs have been hit hard.
Yeah, but that's you know, that's the scary new reality. $2 million for an entry level house in most suburbs around here.
You know what? It's funny. It's a balance. It finds its balance. It really does. So people leaving Sydney, people re-centralising into Sydney, people coming from overseas to Sydney to live. It's funny how it all just finds this natural balance in the marketplace. As much as you get upset that, you know, if you know, you see hippies that are getting upset because of you know, like the Avalon-Cats, we call them. You see people that are true core to their suburbs. You know, look at Mullumbimby and these places up north. The commune sort of area is pretty disappointing. The wealth concentration was another one. Yeah, pushes them.
Yeah, that's it. Anything else,
mate? Nothing at all. I think it's very, very. In summary, I think it's very, very interesting what we're seeing out of these suburb churns. The average prices for suburbs, people leaving these suburbs in droves to go to different parts, and people coming into these suburbs, and it's finding its own balance. It's interesting.
But there's plenty of people out there still looking. Plenty of people.
It just keeps going.
Just keeps going. That's it. And if they're not local, they'll be from somewhere else. That's what, we can take away from this.
And now we've got the international markets coming back. So I think Sydney, Australia, is on the top of the shopping list for a lot of people around the world.
Yeah. Why wouldn't it be? It's beautiful here. Why wouldn't it be?
Climatically, economically, medically, education, a lot of reasons. So I think Sydney's has been okay and is going to be okay through this booming market.
That's a wrap. Have a good week. Ciao.
You too, Billy. Thanks, mate. Bye.